Hey everybody, this is Matt from Matt's Fantasy Book Reviews, and today I'm going to be going over my July to-be-read list. This is going to be a little bit of a quicker video than I have in the past because I'm not reading a ton of books this month. And the main reason is the books that I'm reading, several of them are really long, so it's going to take up a lot of my time, and so let's just dive right into it. I'm going to give you the book names, and I'm also going to give you the date that I expect to finish them. Last month, I got all of my dates within one day of my prediction. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that this month, namely because I'm going to Disneyland with my kids, and I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done on that vacation, but we'll see what I can do. The first book that I'm going to finish up in July is going to be Cradle, Dreadgod. I am super hyped up about this book. I think this is the 11th book in the Cradle universe, and I think it's the second to last book, so we're getting close to the end. It's by Will White, finishing that up July 9th, and this is a little bit of a shorter book, probably going to take me 2 or 3 days to read, and it comes out on July 5th. I released a couple videos recently talking about, my most anticipated books in general, my most anticipated books for 2022, and this book is close to the top. I just cannot wait to read this book. Cradle's not my favorite series in the world. It has its flaws, but it might be the most addicting series that I'm into. It has this ability to just suck me in. It's got this video gamey feel to it where it evokes some of the feelings that some video games do. Some of those RPGs where you'll be playing and all of a sudden you'll look outside and the sun's coming up because you forgot what time it was. Cradle's got that thing to it where you're just reading it and you look up and you're like, how is it 11 at night? I thought it was 6. Just an addicting read. And that's truly the hallmark of a great book. Who cares how perfect the book is and how perfect the writing is and all these different scoring systems when it's just fun. And this is a fun book. So super looking forward to this. The next book that I'm going to finish on the same day because it's my audiobook that I'm listening to, and I'm currently listening to it, and it's the second book in the Poppy War series, The Dragon Republic. This is by R.F. Kuang, and this is one of the books that's going to cause me a problem because this is a 672-page book, pretty lengthy, taking me a decent amount of time to get through it, and I go through audiobooks quite a bit slower than I do regular books because I don't devote a ton of time to them. But yeah, super enjoying this book so far. Thus far in my journey, I'd say it's probably a 4 out of 5. That could go up, could go down. If it's like the last book, though, and I don't know if it will be because I don't know anything about this book, but the last book ramped up the last third of that book up to 11, and it went from a 3 to a 4 for me. So hopefully this book goes from a 4 to a 5, but 4 is still a great score. So really enjoying my journey so far with the second Poppy War book. Finishing up July 16th, I'm going to finish up number 1 of The Wandering Inn. This is by Pirate Abba. It's that's a fake name for somebody that doesn't want their identity to be known. This is a little bit lesser known of a series, and I got recommended to it by a friend who I've loved every book that she's recommended to me. And this book, I'm reading it right now, and I'm going to take a break to read Cradle, but it is taking me a long time to read because it's over 1,200 pages. It's a huge book. Reminds me of one of those bigger Stormlight Archive books for how big it is. And I am really enjoying it. The writing is not great. It feels childish at times. I cringe at moments that I'm reading this book. But I'm loving it. It reminds me of that Cradle feeling where I just can't stop reading it. I'd say right now in my reading experience, it's probably like a 4.5. I'm really enjoying it. It's a book about a innkeeper in a kind of like stuck in a Dungeons and Dragons type world, more so than Cradle. In Cradle, people kind of level up, they get stronger, but it's not like literally leveling up. In this book, when a character goes through a major battle, they'll go to sleep and you'll see a little thing that says, warrior skill leveled up to 7. It's literally ripped out of like a Dungeons and Dragons. It sounds hokey. It's not. It works really well in this series. It's a web series that they've converted into a book. And I've never read a web series before, but I'm loving it because every chapter is its own contained little story. So you know something fun is going to happen every single chapter. And it's a really wonderful experience. I am dreading continuing the series, though, because I think this 1,200-page book is the shortest of the books. I think there's 8 books in the series out so far, and I was looking up the page lengths, and like the 5th book in the series is something like 8,000 pages long. That is intimidating. That will take me an entire month to read. So I don't know if I'm going to get to that point, but if every book is as good as this one, I'm going to have to, because I'm really enjoying my experience. So yeah, The Wandering Inn, great book so far. The next book I'm going to read is the fan pick. I did a video a couple weeks back where I asked people to submit names of books they want me to read. And I did a roulette wheel in my June wrap-up, and Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff won. So I'm going to be finishing that up on July 18th. I don't know anything about this book. I read a little teeny blurb about it. It looked interesting. I'm not super into vampire stories, but I was reading some of the reviews, and a lot of the reviews said something similar. They said, 5 out of 5, I don't love vampire stories, but this is awesome. So I'm excited. Convince me wrong, J. Kristoff, but hopefully I'm all on board with the vampire train and looking forward to it. The next book, you have not heard of this book, I guarantee, because it only has like 5 reviews on Goodreads, but I'm reading it anyways. It is this from the series The Scars of Herath, I think it said, and the book title is The Return of Abaddon. It's by Peter Morin. I'm going to finish that up July 20th. Peter Morin reached out to me on Goodreads, and he offered me to read this book. I've gotten dozens and dozens of people that have requested that I read their books that don't have a lot of traction. And I get why they do it. They're trying to get more attention to their books. On YouTube, I've got a very small profile. On Goodreads, I've got a very large profile. And so people reach out all the time to try to get me to review their books. But I read the reviews, and while limited, they were wonderful. Every one of them was a 5 out of 5. I read the blurb. The blurb looked great. So he sent me the physical version of the book. I actually started to read it, but the first 6 pages were missing. There was a printing error. So I started reading The Wandering Inn, which is going to take me a while to read. But in the meantime, he sent me a Word doc that fills in the pages that I'm missing. So thank you so much, Peter Morin, and I'll look forward to reading that and getting my review up around July 20th. The next book I'm going to read is going to take me about a day to read. This is going to come out on July 21st, and it is the most recent book in the Murderbot Diaries series by Martha Wells, and it is Fugitive Telemetry. And I got to tell you, I'm pretty excited about this book. I was getting down on the Murderbot Diaries. They got too formulaic. I was just getting bored with them. But the last book I read in this series was wonderful. I think I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 score, maybe a 4, but it was great. I loved my experience. It was the first full-length novel. I thought that helped it out a lot, but more than that, it went in different directions than the other books did. It stopped the formula it was doing. It did its own thing, and it was great. So I'm hoping, this is one of the what do they call them? Novellas. It's short again. Hopefully it's not going to go into that formula again, but I am optimistic, cautiously optimistic. Next book I'm going to finish up on July 24th, and it is Discworld, Thud. I think this is the last or the second to last in the City Watch plotline, and I'm sad about that. I'm actually getting kind of sad that I'm getting towards the end of the series because I have thoroughly loved my Discworld experience. It's not one of my top 5 favorite fantasy books, but I've been using them as palate cleansers. I read them after really dense, epic fantasies. I get a big smile on my face the whole time. They're refreshing books. I love them. I love Terry Pratchett. I'm sad that he's passed away, and I'll never get another Discworld book. And I don't think I'm ever going to get another book like Discworld. It's unique and awesome, and I'm looking forward to reading Thud. And the last book that I'm reading, and another reason that this month is going to take me not a lot of books, it is the second in the Realm of the Elderlings Fits and the Fool trilogy, Fool's Quest by Robin Hobb. Going to finish this up on the last day of the month, July 31st, and this book is 757 pages long. And I got to look at it, and the page, it's a little deceiving because the word count per page is rather high. So for a normal book, this would probably be like 900 pages. So another real beefy book that I'm going to be reading. But if you saw my review I made for the first in this trilogy, I loved that book. It was my book of the month in June, and I'm hoping that Fool's Quest is my book of the month for July. So those are the 8 books that I'm going to be reading. I'm looking forward to it. I'll get up all my reviews about try to get them up the day that I finish, and I hope you'll enjoy it. So thanks so much for watching. Appreciate your time, and I'll catch you next time.